going on? Welcome back to another episode of Opinions from Offside. Thank you for joining us. Today's a very special episode in our little short career doing the podcast and doing the YouTube channel, because today is the first time it falls on my team against Kanye's team. So at time of recording, this coming Wednesday, we've got Liverpool, the mighty Liverpool, versus West Ham United at Anfield in the Carabao Cup. First of all, how you doing, Kanye? How's things, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm just getting used to this bloody weather. This is probably the warmest, driest day it's been, and I am still fucking freezing.
Do you know what? It's weird because people say like, it's mild or whatever, or it's not too bad, or this is not cold. Like, I was back last weekend, the weekend before last, to see my wife's family, and we went and watched her sister playing a rugby game, which was random because her sister's not the sort of person you'd ever associate playing rugby, but she did really well. So we went down to see her, and it was like, I don't know, it was like 18, 19 degrees. And me and the kids were just stood on the side of this field, like shivering. I had to take my like cardigan thing off and give it to Ronnie, because he was just like looking at me like, what is this weather all about? when you live there, it's not even that cold, but I think your blood gets used to it, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. Like my mum was saying, it's not cold. I was like, are you mad? Like I've got jeans on, a hoodie, t-shirt, jacket. I had to put the hat on to keep my head dry. Like Jesus Christ! But I've not shaved my head because it's too bloody cold.
It always looks so shiny though. I'm not really seeing any difference. Around the sides a little bit. Yeah, I can see the snow now.
Yeah, the beard. That's like 4 days worth. That's usually 2 days worth instead of that.
Well, I think you'll adjust to it. Other than that, all right? Feeling all right?
Yeah, all is good. We'll get used to this. Jobs training started. Leave it at that.
So I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll get straight into this. Liverpool versus West Ham. First of all, explain to me this fuckery about the pre-drawn fixtures for a select number of the big six, deciding that because they're in European competition, they don't have to play any less games, and the games are no shorter, but they couldn't play each other. What's that about? And do you not think that's weird?
It don't make any sense. I mean, I can understand if they've done it so that teams that play Champions League don't play teams that you're in Europa League. I could understand that because they can't play the same days because it's alternative, ain't it?
Yeah.
But anything else, it's not one of those. Let's see teams. Why? The reason why cup games are so good is you can play anyone, and on that day, anyone can beat anybody that day. So just leave it as it is. Like, I don't understand all the fanning about, and just leave it. Let's just play. See what happens.
So first of all, as you say, anything can happen on any given day in a cup tie. I don't know how you're feeling. I'm not feeling, as a West Ham fan, too optimistic about it. You have had the benefit of seeing a couple of games, and now we're trying to adapt under Lopetegui. You also had the benefit, and the pleasure was ours. You were also on the Hammers Chat Patreon podcast, over Land and Seaward, to give us an opposition preview over there. How did you find that? You were a great guest. You're getting rave reviews.
Mate, I loved it. Like, it was so good. The boys are Gatesy and Rob. So sound. He had another guy on there. He was a bit weird, but we'll leave him. He's all right.
Rob Gatesy and Sat is what you're thinking of.
That's it, not Rob Sat. Rob
Gatesy. Lovely lads, and they really love seeing you over there. So you got to hear what we thought about the breakdown. So just for the benefit of our watchers, let's both, first of all, do it like this. Let's both have a little. Let's both talk about West Ham first of all as the away team, and what you think of my team, and how you think about our form and our changes in the way we play. Then we'll discuss your team. Then maybe we'll have a look at the potential lineups, what we think in terms of any changes for the cup team. Then we'll do our predictions. Does that sound like a plan?
Yeah, let's do it.
Right, so your opinions on my team, West Ham, at the moment?
It's one of those where when a new manager comes in, you want him to put, right, this is how we're going to play, this is the stamp on it, and you sort of see it, how it's working. And it don't seem to be doing that. I know you've had a couple of issues with injuries and things like that, but I don't know, it just seems a bit like the whole ship is not sailing in the same direction. It seems like a few people have their own agendas and what they want to do and how they want to do it. And I don't just mean players. Like, it just comes across as like, right, Lopetegui wants to do this, great, but I want to do that, and then he wants to do this, and I feel it's a bit of a shame because they've got a good following. You know what I mean? Like, they've got a good following. Like, everyone I've spoken to is a West Ham fan, that they're loyal to the end, and it's just think that surely, as an owner of a club, you've got the fan base. That's got to be the hardest thing to get. Just have a manager, have a sporting director, or a director of football, and just pull in the same direction. And right, if it don't work on the results on the pitch, I know you've lost. Is it lost 5 out of 6 in your first 6?
Yeah, we lost their first 3 home games. We nicked a late draw with Danny Ings' goal against Fulham, and we were able to beat Crystal Palace 2-0. Scraped, but the form has been bad, and we scraped through the cup game against Bournemouth with probably offside, likely handball goal. So I would be really gutted if I was a Cherry supporter. So we sort of robbed them of that, but the performances have not been good, really. We had a decent spell, but maybe a little bit against Man City, and we come away losing that game. But we came away, as West Ham fans traditionally do, feeling like if we've had a go and we've lost, we're happy enough that we've shown a bit of fight. But interesting that you said there about not pulling in the same direction, and not just in terms of the playing staff. I'm thinking you're alluding to what's going on behind the scenes with Director of Football Tim Stighton and Lopetegui and the owner, and what's come out recently. Is that what you're alluding to?
That to me goes back to that Salah comment. It's unnecessary.
Yeah.
Very unnecessary. Like, just crazy. I mean, you told me about it off camera, and it's the more I thought about it today, knowing we're going to chat about this, I was like, it just makes no sense. Look, what by making that statement, what do the best possible outcome could be? That the West Ham fans don't blame you. None of the West Ham fans blame you now.
Yeah, I think if it's true, and we don't know, it's always like speculative where these rumours and stuff come from. I think if Tim Stighton has come out, so for people that don't know, apparently Tim Stighton has come out and actively distanced himself from the appointment of Lopetegui as West Ham's head coach. And I think the only reason if he has done that, he's doing that, is maybe to save his professional credibility, because so far it's early days, but it's not working out. But then also, it's another conversation for another day. I think there's question marks over some of the signings he's made, where a bulk of the West Ham fans seem to be calling him the Messiah, which is crazy to me, because so far we've not really proved anything. And I feel like massively he's in that job, and this is the first job of that seniority, because he's been a subordinate and like an underling to Simon Rolfes at Leverkusen. So he's not even done this job before at that level. He was basically a scout. So that's a whole other thing. Definitely the vibe is not right with West Ham at the moment. What about in terms of what you've seen on the pitch so far? Have you got any players you admire, any players you've got concerns about? Or any concerns for us? Because I know you're not... We've spoken off camera, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but we've spoken previously about you wasn't struck on the little you'd seen at Tadibo, and also you wasn't that struck on Kudus and how the form he's been on lately, and in terms of his work rate defensively. Yeah,
well, the thing with Kudus, I just think you're in a team that's struggling. This is, I think, what will probably hold him back from a big transfer. I think he'll have to go to another club that are willing to spend him and give him big wages. So he'll probably end up at Chelsea. Because I don't think any of the big clubs will touch him. Like, what you want to see from a player, if your team's struggling, you want to see him, you know what? Let me out. Let me grab you by the scruff. Let me do my bits. Let me do, if it's work rate. I mean, to me, I understand footballers can have bad games. You can have a bad game. You can have a bad moment. You can not be in form. No excuse for work rate. And I just off the ball, I don't think he was doing enough. But then just when he had the ball, I just want more. If you're supposed to be like, there's talk of him being a replacement for Salah, you need to show more. You've got to do more on the ball. So sometimes it's a little bit wasteful. His decision making, really. I mean, when I've watched him in the highlights, I know it's only highlights, but obviously I'll watch him properly tomorrow, the full game, if he plays. And what I've seen is just, it's not like, I can understand if you see the pass, it don't go there, or it's a bad connection. It happens. Get that. But when it's the wrong decision, that's craziness. Like, there's times when I've seen him when you can make the pass, you can make the run, and you can probably get it back, or you just open it up for someone else, and you don't want him. It's sort of like he wants the responsibility of being the main man without the pressure of producing. But then he's young. What is he, 20, 23, 24?
Not even sure. Not even sure. Yeah, about that. I should know, but I'm not even sure. I mean, the only caveat in his defence, and not that I'm here to defend him, is that, like you say, we're not in good form at the moment. He's not used to the role he's being asked to play. He's being played a lot on the left-hand side of in a 4-2-3-1, whereas for his country, he plays down the middle as a 10. And Ajax, he was either a 10 or on the right, but obviously we've got Jared Bowen on the right. So the only time he's had a go at playing on the right was when we played Bowen up front, and that it didn't click. So it's a funny thing. He does seem dejected to me. He doesn't seem like the same Mo Kudus as last season. And yeah, you're right. He seems lately to fade in games after about 60, 70 minutes. If he's not getting on the ball as much, it's like his head drops and his shoulders are hunched and whatever. So, yeah, it's a strange thing. And what about in terms of your team? I mean, we'll go on to the lineup later on and potential changes. But so far, your start under Slot and the way you're playing?
Yeah, I like what we're doing. My only issue with us, like negatively, all right, Bobby, football's on, calm down.
Bobby for me, in the background, yeah.
Bobby's kicking off. Don't know what he's barking at. My only issue with Liverpool at the minute is, but when we play out from the back, we play quite slow. We sort of try and set a trap. So before with Klopp, it was pass, can we go forward? Pass, can we go forward? Pass, can we go forward? While with Slot, it seems to be, let's have a couple of passes, let's get into our shape, because we've worked on attacking from our shape. But it invites teams to attack and try and rob the ball off as high up. But what are you doing? He's there. Oh, there he is. Get his head in.
Come and give us his analysis. So for those that don't know, this is Bobby the dog. This is Kanye's dog. Actually, and tell us who he's named after, for people that don't know.
He's named after Bobby Firmino, because he's got a touch and an arm.
Here he is. That's our Bobby. Is he playing tomorrow?
He will be playing, but mainly in the garden.
That's lovely. Yeah, so
Liverpool, we sort of set a trap. Right, so what we do, we set a trap as if like we're passing about, come and get us. And a lot of teams try to play the high press now. What we're doing, we're finding the spare man in the middle. So Szoboszlai, McAllister, Gravenberch, clever players, they drop in, and if it's not on, they don't sit and wait, they spin out. And then the next one comes in. And it's quite clever because at some point you're asking for the holding midfielder to then come into that gap. And it's because it's so deep, you don't want to go there. So it's quite a clever way, but with teams like, I think it's horrible to say, but a team like Man City with players that will all chase. I mean, I know he's got injured, but Rodri would have chased that down regardless because he knows behind him is secure. So I think it's a dangerous game to play, but I like the idea of it. And it's brought the best out of Diaz. Diaz has been brilliant to start with. Been really, really good.
He scored 2 the other day, didn't he?
Yeah, he got 2 the other day. He got 2 against United. Nunez's goal, really, really good. Really good. I mean, even the loss. If you look at the loss against Forest just defended really well. Fair play to him. Set up the game plan. And it was a wonder goal. You know, one of them where, like, if that don't go in, 10 minutes later, we probably score and end up winning 2-0. Something like that. Or if we scored earlier, it would have been like maybe a rout, another 3-0. But fair play to Forest. Good goal. But so far, so good what we're looking at. And the rotation's good as well. My only issue with the rotation, I didn't like the first 3 or 4 games where he kept taking Trent off. Didn't like that. It's weird to... If he's trying to manage his workload, I can understand. But I don't know. As a fullback, unless you're having a bad game, you should leave me on. Important to attacking and defending. It's one of the few I'd probably leave on.
Is Trent still playing that kind of hybrid role that we spoke about on a previous podcast? We've been coming into the midfield and trying to pick his passes out. Is he still doing that under Slot, or has that changed?
Yeah, no, he still does that. Well, I think this is I don't think it's the issue. I think this is just what makes him... I don't think that's a manager's instruction now. I think that's just naturally what he's going to do. So with this talk about... I mean, we can pick this up another time. This whole talk about Real Madrid going in for him. With teams that defend so deep against Real Madrid, he would do absolute madness in La Liga. Madness.
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to Hammers Chat and Gio and a guest they had on there today, Neil. who was, I think he was the Anfield Rap. So check out both those channels, Amber's Chat and the Anfield Rap, and not poaching their material. But he was mentioning that there's futures of Trent and Van Dijk and Salah all a little bit uncertain. And he was saying that he feels like Trent is in a situation where sort of maybe always getting scrutinised for the way he plays in his position as an individual. Like, he's the only right back that really plays the way Trent plays. And he wonders if he was to go abroad or whatever, he was saying the same as you, he thinks that he'd have over there. But then the flip side of that is he's playing for his boyhood club. So he probably wants to stay around. It makes you wonder if Slot fully understands what he brings to the party if he's sold him off. Do you think he understands what he brings, or do you think he prefers to a more traditional right back?
No, I think Slot's too clever to not understand what he brings. I think he's maybe just trying to manage his workload. But obviously, he went to the Euros. Conor Bradley didn't, and then he's come back. He's got a couple of friendlies under his belt. I completely understand why he's doing that, because the games are done. The games he brought him off in, we were 2-0 up, 3-0 up. I can understand it, but it's just, as a player, you just want him playing. And I understand you want to keep Bradley happy as well, especially when you've got Trent in his last 12 months of his contract. Like, how we've not spoken about a new contract yet is beyond me. Like, because there's a chance of losing him for free. That's crazy. How have we not learned from the team at McManaman years ago? That's crazy.
Do you think he'd want to stay?
Well, he's come out and said his future depends on the opportunity to win trophies. Because if we've got to compete with winning trophies, how are you going to compete with Real Madrid? I mean, they've won 3 Champions Leagues in a row. They won a couple of La Ligas. Now you've got really Barcelona are dropping rapidly. Your real competition in that league is Atletico at the minute. You'd expect Real Madrid, if it goes like as it is now, I know they've had a slow start, you'd expect Real Madrid to be, say, Trent signs a 5-year contract. You'd expect them to get at least 3 La Ligas and another Champions League.
So you're saying he's practically assured he's going to get a trophy if he goes to Madrid?
Unless Harry Kane goes there as well, yeah.
That was going to be my devil's avocado. Because Kane going to Bayern Munich for the same reason, so far that's not, proved very fruitful, is it? So I thought I'd play the devil's avocado card. So in terms of what this competition means for you, so obviously for a West Ham fan, when you start the season, there's only a certain amount of competitions that you're in, and there's only a certain amount you're going to get a chance with. We've got no chance of winning the league. I'm under no disillusion. We're not in Europe this year. Well, we're only if we bring back on.
Mathematically, it's on.
Mathematically, it's on. Realistically, we don't expect. That's not our expectation. Generally, our expectations are play some good football. I would like to see us finish in the top 8 this season, and we always say go deep in the cups, have a good cup run. With no Europe, no chance in the league. It's only really the League Cup that you're setting your focus on. We've had Premier League opposition in the first round that we played, the first round proper against Bournemouth, scraped through that, and it was like a dagger to the heart to then get Liverpool away at Anfield. For me, I'm in two minds. I would always say, look, if you're going to start eliminating competitions, that leaves us with only the FA Cup to go after this season. Haven't won that since 1980. So effectively, in a sense, in terms of trophies, in terms of picking up a chance of silverware, your season's almost over if you go out of both the cups. Then it's just a case of accumulating points. So it's important for me to get after it. But then, by the same token, our record at Anfield, I was saying to you, I don't remember whether I said it on camera or off camera, we've not won at Anfield since about 1969, which is wild. So a lot of people are already calling this. A lot of people are already calling this like a free hit and a write-off, and let's concentrate on the Brentford game Saturday and rotate and try and have a go at the league. But the other side of me feels like what you opened the show with, and that's that on any given day, in a one-off game of football in a cup competition, that's the beauty of the cup. So first of all, how do you feel about that mentality from West Ham fans? Can you understand it? And what are your hopes and expectations for this cup? And where is it on your list of priorities?
Well, if you think, to me, as a footballer, you'd always like to win a trophy. You'd always like to win a trophy, but surely you've got to look at it game by game. I mean, surely the fact that Nottingham Forest hadn't won at Anfield until 1969, and they did it last week. 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And
So
we've
surely
never.
that's got to.
And no, yeah. Sorry to interrupt. And I know not as long. We hadn't ever beaten Brighton in the Premier League until last season. You know, so records are made to be broken, aren't they?
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, if that's just sort of you basically saying, right, these are good. We need to bring our A game on it. So how are we going to do it? We need everyone on points. That's tactically, backroom staff, players. We need everyone on point. We need them to have a bit of an off day for us to work. And that can easily happen. You only need, the way the Premier League teams go, it only takes, like, we think Liverpool are going to rotate their squad. I've put up a reserve squad to go through with you to give you an idea of what it would look like. But it only takes a couple of people to be a bit ring rusty, a bit not game sharp. And then suddenly, one mistake, you want in, you want up. Now it's that different game. The nerves come in for the players. Like another break, you could eat quite easily within 30 minutes. Be 2-0 up, cruising against a reserve Liverpool team who are not match sharp. I mean,
and what about in terms of chemistry and them playing together? Some of those fringe players or players that get rotated. I mean, are they on the same sort of wavelength? Are they match sharp, as you say?
well, that's it. That's the thing you've got to look at. I mean, like I said earlier, we think Bradley will start. He's been bringing Conor Bradley on, so Conor Bradley should look sharp. Tsimikas has been coming on as subs, so that's 2. You'd look sharp. Probably be Kelleher in goal because of Alisson's injury.
So let's do that. Let's go through your 11. Go through your 11.
Yeah.
1 to 11.
So what I think we'll have probably have Kelleher in goal, Bradley at right back, Tsimikas at left back, and then I think we'll probably go if we change the whole squad. We've got Joe Gomez and Jarrell Quansah at centre back. The midfield will probably go Endo, Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott, with the top 3 being Chiesa, Jota or Nunez. Probably go with Jota because Nunez started at the weekend and scored, and then Gakpo.
Yeah.
So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 international footballers there.
Yeah.
In that reserve second string 11. So you could quite easily see him. I mean, Quansah got brought off at half time against Ipswich. He's not played since. Gomez is not match sharp, and obviously there was talk of him being involved in a swap deal, and then Newcastle being interested in him. So he might be not be his sharpest. Endo's not played. Elliott's not played. Jones had an injury last year, which I don't know if he's fully fit. Kiesa's not fully sharp yet. So you've got, of that team, 7 of them could quite easily not be at maximum mobility. You can win a game with 3 not on the best, but for 7, there's always a chance. So if I was the West, if that was my team, I'd be looking at the positives. Liverpool are going to ring the changes. I mean, watch them not now. Play the full strength 11 tomorrow. But likely to ring the changes. Let's put a couple of changes in, but let's try something. We spoke about before what I would do with the strike partnership. I said, let's put Kudos up front, stretch the back line, and have Danny Ings in sort of a 10, not for the playmaking, but for the goal threat in a difficult position to be marked, and put Bowen back on the right. Let's get the best out of the players with a system to fit that, rather than the system try and fit the players, have the players fit the system. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. The thing about that, though, is even if he goes with that kind of lineup, you've got a strong bench. I imagine he'd have 2, 3 or 4, real good strong options off the bench if it's not going your way. Is that the lineup that you think he'll play, or is that the lineup that you'd like to see? How different is the lineup you would go for personally?
That's basically swapping all 10 outfield players. That's not a squad that I think, oh, right, this is what I think he'll do. That's just basically swapping all 10 outfield players. So I think Bradley will start, Quansah will start, Tsimikas will start. There's a chance of maybe Konate or Van Dijk might still start. The midfield, he could easily stick with McAllister because of the way he plays. He very much dictates tempo. I think Endo will start. He may even, I hope he doesn't. He could put Gravenberch in there to give Gravenberch a chance a bit further forward, but I hope he don't, because he's done a good job in the 6. Let's not confuse the lad. Leave him where he is. I think Chiesa will start, and I think Gakpo will start. Then I think it's just a decision of whether it's Jota or Nunez up top.
Yeah, I think he'll go Jota. And you've got Wolves, haven't you, at the weekend? Is it Wolves you've got?
Yeah, we've got Wolves.
Yeah. So obviously you can't take his eye off the Premier League too much. And I did ask you earlier on, where is this in terms of order of priorities? So, you know, you've got the league to challenge for, you've got Europe, you've got the FA Cup, and then there's the Carabao Cup. For you personally, where is that in your priorities list?
If you look at priorities, like what would go, you've got to go. To me, it goes Premiership, Champions League, FA Cup, League Cup. But on the flip side of it, the first trophy you can win. Let's get at it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's winning a trophy in February is it's got to boost your confidence. Like, with a day out at Wembley, you're there. First trophy's in the bag. I mean, you look at Guardiola is notoriously taking it serious. Mourinho took it serious. Fergie took it serious. The only one, I wouldn't say he didn't take it serious. I mean, would ring the changes more, sort of set the tone for it was Wenger, but he played his youth players because he knew the youth players they'd spent money on were good. I mean, he just gave valuable first team minutes to players like your Fabregases, your Van Persies, your Senderoses, your Walcotts. Those sort of players got a chance to go and play adult football, which was fully competitive, not this reserve league game or the under-21s, which it is now.
Yeah, and remember, it's Slot's first season, so he's going to want to go and stick some silverware straight in a trophy cabinet to get going. So let's have a look at my team now, West Ham. I think we're probably going to go. It's hard to know because first season with Julian Lopetegui, it's hard to know how serious he's going to go. The only point of reference we've got so far is that he went strong against Bournemouth, but not full strength. So just as I go through it, I think we'll probably see a change between the sticks. I think he'll probably go for Fabianski, who had a good pre-season whilst Ariola was still away on international duty at the Euros and then taking a little break when he got back. So I can see him changing for Fabianski, which I don't really mind because we've sort of got two number ones. Fabianski's a bit older now, 39, but they're both competent. They're both born and capable, and plus we've been in bad form. We've just lost. He's just had 3 put past him playing Chelsea. So I don't mind Ariola being rested and playing Fabianski. I would prefer to see Aaron Wan-Bissaka at right back. I think being as it's the cup and he's got to try and get some minutes in the legs of the fringe players, I think you'll probably see Vladimir Kufal at right back. So that's a real weakness. He'll be going up against Cody Gakpo. So that could be fruitful for you. Centre back, I think it's probably time to see Todibo. We've only seen him for the first half against Bournemouth. Yeah, you don't rate him. So I think you're probably going to see Jean-Claire Todibo at right centre back. We've seen him for 15 minutes so far off the bench, and we see him for the first half against Bournemouth where he was unfit and then sustained an injury and went off at half time. I think he'll probably stick with Kilman. So that will mean the omission of Mavropanos if Todibo's coming in. Left back, I don't think he's got a lot of choice because, I'm not sure now as I'm saying it. I think to keep a relative bit of strength, I think you're going to have to stay with Emerson. I can't see him having Cresswell at left back and Kufal at right back and then bringing in an untested centre back who's not looked great so far. That's basically suicide from the off. So I'm probably going to go with, I think he'll go for Kufal, Todibo, and then keep Kilman and Emerson. I think in the midfield, you like... Go on, were you going to say something?
I think just because of how Emerson's played recently, I mean, I know on the other chat we spoke about his form, would it be maybe worth giving him a rest? Just taking him out of the squad for the whole time. Go and have a rest, recharge yourself mentally rather than physically. Because, he's a professional athlete and you start the season, he should be fit, but maybe mentally he's not fully there with what's going on around him. New system, new plan. Do you think it'd be worth doing that? Or would you get the other way? Like, no, the more you're playing the system, the more you get used to it.
It's possible. There's 2 schools of thought there in there. I think you can either, sometimes, like you say, a rest is just as good, like mentally, but sometimes you can play through bad form. And he's not been in bad form, but he's not been the same as last year. Some of that's maybe because he's not had Paqueta in front of him on the left to link up with, which he likes to do. But I just find it terrifying having Kufal and like 96-year-old Cresswell as our fullbacks. I love Cressy, but there's been question marks over what he's got left for the last couple of seasons. Largely, he's like running in treacle. I reckon I'd beat him in a foot race these days. That's a dangerous proposition. And like I say, I want to take this seriously because if you're going to start writing off cups when you're only even got an outside chance of being in winning 2 of them, I don't think you can do that. I think it will maybe persist with Alvarez sort of holding midfield. Traditionally, lately, we've gone for Guido Rodriguez, who we've got from Real Betis, and we've had him next to Alvarez at a double pivot. I'm worried that he's painfully slow. He's not really up to the pace of the Premier League. I've not really seen anything from him that Flynn Downs, who we let go, who's quicker, just as good on the ball, can pass simply. 24 years old West Ham fan, and we've let him go permanently to Southampton. I'm not really seeing much from Rodriguez at the moment, especially the 2 of them in a double pivot. So for this game, and this is a bit of a gamble because I'm against playing Paqueta in the 8, right, next to Rodriguez. Like, so I don't mean like a double pivot of 2 holding players. I mean one kind of holding 6 and 1 8 that's allowed to be a bit more central midfield and start the attacks off. We've got no passers in the team when we've got 2 cloggers in there, in the middle. So you need a passer. My objection, the answer normally for people is putting Paqueta in there. Paqueta can dally on the ball. Paqueta can do flicks and tricks and can look for passes you can't find, but he can also give away possession. And I don't mind him giving away possession on the edge of the opponent's 18-yard box, trying a through ball or trying a flick. I don't like when he's giving possession away in your own third. So the answer to that, if you want a passer in there for me, is having to go with Soler, who we've just got from PSG. He's a similar player to Paqueta. He can play centre mid, but the gamble is I've not seen much of him in that kind of 8. People say about Paqueta plays at 8 for Brazil. He doesn't play at 10. Brazil spend most of the game with the lion's share of possession and are normally the better side. So it's very different when you're going to Anfield and you're under the cosh. We've seen that Soler does a fine attacker as well. So I'd have them 2 in there. Then I'd have a 3 just behind the front man. I think I'd go with Kudus in his best position, in my opinion, in a 10, so he can really start running at your defenders and attacking them. Bowen back on the right, and I'd give Somerville a go on the left, who looked bright. And like I pointed out on the other podcast that we did together, he had no goals, no assists, no shots, and didn't set anything up, but he looked bright, and he is a natural left-sided player, so I would give him the benefit of a run out on the left. Then we're going to, at some point, have to start playing Fulkrug if he's fit. But then the way we're playing really has to adapt. I liked what you said on the previous podcast for the Hammers Chat Patreon one, where you did, why don't you consider Bowen on the left so that you've got crossers on their natural foot. I just can't see him doing it. So that's how I line up. More likely, that's how I line up. Yeah, I can't. You've got to give Fulkrug some service. More likely, I think you're more likely to see with Lopetegui, Bowen on the right, Kudus on the left out of position. If you notice, I omitted Paqueta from my starting lineup because I'd have him on the bench and I'd give him a little bit of a mental break because he's got the whole betting charges on his mind as well, and he's not been quite as good at having him on the bench. I think you'll see Paqueta in the 10, Kudus on the left, Bowen on the right, and you'll see Michael Antonio at number 9, who I know you're a fan of, but he's just nothing like he was last season. And he has mental issues at the moment.
All of us.
Hey?
He catches up with all of us, but I think with Antonio, he still, when I said earlier, there's no excuse for work rate. I think he'll always give you the work rate. He'll run himself into the ground. He'll chase every lost cause. And 1 out of 10 will make something out of. So that's why I like him. Is that it's a mental thing. What I like Antonio, he's just full of running, and I can imagine him just being an absolute nuisance to mark. Yeah,
I agree. Have you seen much of him this season, though?
No, not really. No.
See, that's what you're describing. Is not what we're getting at the moment. He's, and I feel for him because it's well documented. He's going through divorce in his personal life. He's come out in an interview and said that he sometimes wishes he was injured just so that he can have a break from football. So he's not that same tenacious player. His pace is gone. His power is not the same. We have we coined this phrase at West Ham that when he's in beast mode, he's a handful to play against. We haven't seen that beast mode for a while, and lately he's been going down quite easy and whinging and appealing for fouls and stuff. And then surely after a couple, whether the referee's going to be giving you those decisions or not, and he just seems to persist with it. But no, I don't want to disrespect him. He's been great for us, and all-time Premier League top goal scorer for us, which is wild. And he's done a great job, and I love him on his day. But I just feel like you're not going to get many chances when you're West Ham against Liverpool. And I think the chances that fall, you're going to need to try and be clinical. I haven't seen enough of Fulcrum to know whether he's clinical. Bowen can be clinical, although he's off form. And I wanted to talk to you about this particular thing. So I think with that lineup we've got there, with Kudus in the 10, with Somerville, who's bright on the ball and will run and play little 1-2s, I could see us adopting Fulcrum, not necessarily as a target man and playing crosses over headers, but when you and I play over Villamandy and you stuck me up front as just basically a screen, as a wall.
Yeah.
You scored a good goal where you drilled the ball into me. I was to hold it up and then lay it off to you. I turned around and play a through ball and you scored. And I did that for a couple of lads, the younger lads, fast lads on the wing. I could see Fulcrum having some success doing that, holding the ball up and playing 1-2s and being strong enough to keep holding the ball and laying Somerville one side, Kudus the other, Bowen the other. Do you think that's something that could work, thinking out of the box?
I like the idea of it. I just don't know if Fulcrum has that strength. I mean, say as an example for tomorrow, Quansaro Gomez are big people. I mean, Gomez is small for a centre-back, but he's wide. He's a big dude, very hard to hold off. Quansar's a big dude, and he looks a bit clumsy. You probably get a few fouls from Quansaro because he's new, and he might even get rolled a few times and might grab a bit longer. But then if you go back to the Premiership, if that's a Canate or Van Dijk, I think you're just going to move him out of the way. Like I know Fulcrum is a big guy, but he doesn't look a powerful guy. But then just from looking at him, maybe I'm being biased, but I reckon, especially from what I've seen, I reckon he would have had a better touch than Antonio. So what you're looking for is sort of a mix between Antonio and Fulcrum, really, to play that sort of role. And you could have had him in Duran.
I was going to say it. Yeah, I was going to say it. Yeah, it's crazy. So finally, final couple of things. What do you think the keys to West Ham's potential success are? How can we get at you? And then afterwards, I will tell you how I think that Liverpool can get at West Ham. And then we'll both make our predictions.
Right, Liverpool to get West Ham, I think you've got two options to go with. You've either got to try and blitz early. And I mean, if that was me, if I was feeling brave, I'd go, right, first 10 minutes, after kickoff, we blitz them. We go early. We get the ball. We blitz them high, fast, push high as you can. Kilman's experience. He's a good defender. He looks like he's got a good tactical mind in him as well, the way I've seen him move. You control the line, pushes up as high as you can, shorten the distance for the first 10, 15 minutes. If we get a bit of joy, can nick a goal, nick a chance, great. But after that, stop. Just drop back a little bit, frustrate them. I would personally, if I was the West Ham manager, I'd try and do 10-minute blitzes. So I'd do 10 minutes, right, stop, bang. Let them have the ball in that area now. Let them have it. Just lead back. We're going to get our breath. They've had to deal with us chasing, and the way Liverpool play is high and fast. They're going to tire themselves out. 10 minutes before half-time, right, we go again. We're blitzing everything. Bang, 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 bang. Just try and confuse them with, right, I've got no time. All right, I've got loads of time, but I'm rushing now because I've been pressured. Now I've calm. Shit, they're rushing again. If you can get an early goal, sit back and try and play counter. If you're not, I'd just try and control blitz. I'd blitz attack, very much like you would in a NFL from a snap. Just like, right, we all go. And that's what I would personally do to try and get out, is because of the way we're playing a little bit slower out. The only problem with that is I think because we looked a bit more comfortable going long and our forwards are looking for the balls over the top now, you could get caught out by that. But maybe Gakpo's quick, but not the quickest. It's Chiesa that will get him behind if anyone's to do it. So maybe with Emerson there, maybe that's the one to speak to, and he'll be on Kilman's side. That's where I think West Ham could get at us with that. I think that's the best option for them to pressure us in short blitz periods. That's what I would do. Then just confusing, having the ball, not having the ball, having the ball, not having the ball. I think that's what I would do.
And are there any players of ours you're slightly concerned about?
Debo. Just because I've been slating him. He'll turn up today. Tomorrow, sorry. It will absolutely turn up. I think maybe the thing with Bowen, with us a couple of years ago, was looking at him and then deciding not to. I always think when you're a player and you hear of that, when you come up against the team, like it's Let me show you what happened. I remember the year there was talk of us going for him, and then we didn't. He scored against us twice, like 2 games. And I just think it's one of them where maybe he'll be like, right, if I'm playing, I'm on it. Or then again, maybe the kudos thing. If he is supposed to be the heir apparent to Salah, this is your time to show us. We're sitting watching. So I remember that when we sold Torres to Chelsea, Torres that year, it was not the same Torres, but he had 2 good games, both against Chelsea. And then they bought him for 50 million and got the Torres that everyone sort of laughed at, but not the Torres that was destroying Nemanja Vidic for fun.
Crazy. Fingers crossed. Yeah, just in terms of how Liverpool can get at West Ham, I think there's a multitude of ways, but I think you hit the nail on the head at the end of your analysis. It's getting behind us. We seem to be adopting this high line at the moment, particularly if there's a change between the sticks. Fabianski sticks to his line. He's not going to come and clean up and sweep up. And he's also at 39, not the quickest off the mark for balls over the top. I've not seen enough of Tadibo to know what he's like. Apparently, he's quick. He was in France's team of the year last year. So I guess that's a little bit of optimism. Again, if there's changes at fullback, Kufal is pretty slow. If Cresswell is in there, that will be suicidal for me. Because I can see you, especially if we play a high line, getting behind us. Again, it's going to depend on what we do in centre midfield, because that was half the problem against Chelsea, as we broke down on our podcast and on the West Ham podcast for Hammers Chat Patreon. We both said that what they were doing was Alvarez was dropping and splitting the centre-backs, being an auxiliary centre-back himself, and then he was responsible for Nicholas Jackson, who was just blitzing him for pace. He got some real pace in the Liverpool team, so I'm worried about that. I'm worried about us getting passed through our midfield. Even the players you're saying are your fringe players or second players, there's some good players in there. I really like Bradley, the young right back. I really like him. Joe Gomez has always been solid. He can play centre back or left back, can't he? So I like him as well. It's just the injuries have maybe not done him justice. Terrified of Gakpo. I think he can hurt us. He's good with a long shot. He loves a long shot as well from edge of the box. I remember him scoring against us like that. I remember him scoring at least one of those in the Euro as well for the Netherlands. And Harvey Elliott always popped up as well. He's very dangerous, just sort of floating just outside the box with those sort of shots, curly shots as well. So there's a number of ways you can get at us. And I'm not feeling too optimistic about it. So just before we finish off, what's your game predictions? What's your score predictions? And how you feeling about it?
I've got to be confident in my team, and I'm going to go for a 3-0.
3-0. Yeah, see, my head agrees with your analysis there on 3-0. You just said there you've got to go with your team. If I'm answering my heart, we hold you to a 1-1 and we nick it on penalties.
Penalties.
Yeah, we nick it on penalties. I believe it goes to penalties if we're all tied up at full time. But yeah, we've got no cutting edge at the moment either. I can't even say a 2-1 or a 3-1. My heart would like to see us have a battling performance and us show something different to what we've seen so far. But my head tells me we're probably going to lose this one. I'd like to see us go out fighting 2-1, but I don't say that with much conviction at all. So yeah, that's a look ahead to Liverpool versus West Ham on Wednesday night. While we finish off, it's going to be a different obscure player game today. It's going to be West Ham and Liverpool themed. So we are going to throw at each other obscure players or players even that have played for both sides, both West Ham and Liverpool. Is that right with you?
My list is in Tenerife, but let's go.
Oh, you've made a list. Come on, you've got a list. You've got a mental list. So go on, you can start us off then.
Right. Yossi Benayoun.
Benayoun, yeah. And you took the tap in there because we spoke about that on the podcast with DJ Tezza. And he'd actually played for West Ham, Liverpool and Arsenal. So that was a great one. So we get some easy ones out of the way then. We'll go with Danny Ings.
Julian Dix.
Yep, great legend. Andy Carroll.
Arbeloa.
I forgot about. Oh, what a fucking guy! Do you know that he didn't like being had a go at? He got subbed off at half time and he fucked off down the Carpenter's Arms for a pint. in the middle of the game. Went down the pub. We'll go back a little bit further. We'll go David Burrows.
See, you know what? I've got a risky one. I don't know if it is. In fact, no, I'm going to stick with Razor Ruddock. But I've got a risky one. I'm not sure if he did play for both.
Go on, play it. Play it as a wild card. I won't hold you to it.
I want to say Mark Wright.
No, I don't think he did.
Yeah.
Right, 1990 World Cup alongside Des Walker.
I see him in a claret top for some reason.
Let me look that up because I would have been 9 or 10 when he.
Well, two which are out there, which I'm not sure about. One of them was Mark Wright. The other one was Peggy Arfexad.
Right.
Do you know? I'm sure he played for Liverpool. He played for Leicester. Did he play for West Ham? For some reason, I see him in the West Ham goal. Or am I just mixing him up with David James? Could be.
Yeah, you might be. Yeah, I have to have a look on it. I'm just looking on Wikipedia. I don't remember Mark Wright playing for West Ham. No, he played for Oxford, Southampton, Derby, and Liverpool.
Right.
And he managed at Southport, Oxford, Chester, Peterborough, Chester again, Floriana. So no, he never played for us. But Mike Marsh did play for
Mike
both.
Marsh. So we've had David James, TT Camara.
TT Camara. We didn't mention David James, did we? Or did you say?
Yeah, I just said him then, but I said Peggy Arfexad.
Yeah, I was looking at Rigobert Song.
Oh, he was my next one, Rigobert Song. That was a joint signing one. That was a Rio Ferdinand money.
That was. And the David Burrows and Mike Marsh were the swap deal for Julian Dix, and with the rest of the money, we went and bought Lee Chapman. What a fucking disaster that was. Lee Chapman. Do you remember Men Behaving Badly? Leslie Ash, who was Debbie, and Deb's in that. He was married to her.
Yeah.
And by the time he got to us, he'd totally given up on football. He had a restaurant in the West End, and it was all he gave a shit about was the restaurant. And then I guess if I was married to her back in them days, I probably wouldn't get straight back home as well.
Oh yeah, back in the day, Man Behaving Badly. What a film! What a film! What a TV program. Sorry, a great program.
Great series. Right. Well, listen. Should we leave that for now? Is there any other business to talk about before we go?
No, we've covered the West Ham. I've got one more for you before we go. Stuart Downing.
I forget that he was at Liverpool. I always think of him as a Middlesbrough player. And then
we signed him because of one game, pretty much. There was talk of him being interested, but never seriously. And then it was the game that costed the league. I think sure it was Gerard Houllier was manager, and he played Martin Skirtle at right back for some reason. And Downing absolutely murdered him. And I mean, when you see someone having all the time, when I said to you that game where you could see Soufal getting killed and the manager didn't help him? That was the first game I seen the fullback getting killed, and he was just absolutely murdered. And it costed the league that. Sure, we lost 2-0. It costed the league.
Unbelievable. Here's a fun one while I think of it before I go. If you had to loan for this match to play for you against us, one current West Ham player and one West Ham player from history, who are you having?
What, to play in this game?
Yeah, play in this game.
I would take Paqueta, just because I think the way that we play would suit him more, and it allows him losing the ball would be further up the pitch. But I think the way we move for the ball would bring out the best in him. I think he would go to another level. But I also think he could very much be a Pogba. Only good when you're winning.
Who'd you drop out? Elliot?
Probably for this game, I'd probably put. You know what I'd do? I'd probably put Gakpo for the middle and put Elliot on the left, and leave Jota out, because we're going to be rotating a lot with Jota and Nunez. So I think they'll be the most rotations we'll have. So I'd still play Chiesa. I'd just move Elliot forward a bit.
Yeah.
That's where I'd go.
And a West Ham player from history?
West Ham player from history, you've got to go, really, with the way we play. I'd want to say Bobby Moore, probably centre back.
Yeah.
Straight in, drop Gomez, and have Quansah. So imagine, just for one game, what he could learn from someone like that. Bobby Moore in his prime.
Unreal, wasn't it? I think we'd have, this won't be controversial to Reds, but we'll have Fowler, please, for full crew from history. I reckon, because we wouldn't have the service for Owen, and Fowler was more clinical finisher.
I would have gone for you. I'd have gone Heske. I know he's not the goals, but he's more yours. He's a young Antonio.
A bit more Antonio-like, isn't he?
Yeah. Like with that clinical. Well, I don't think Heske's ever been clinical, but like he's just. I think he would bring better out of more players than Fowler. I think Fowler would be good, but I think you get more from others with Heske. If that makes sense.
No, I agree with that. That's a great shout. I didn't even think of that. And current players. See, I'm thinking I should really be thinking like attacking, like final third. So like someone like Gakpo or Salah or something like that. But like Big Andy Robertson, left back.
Big Robert. Love Robert.
Like,
if I was going to go now, current players for you, purely because of how the defence is, I'd have gone Alisson. Look at what he did with Liverpool's defence. Just because of how he organises us. Like, that's where I'd have gone. What would you have gone for West Ham? If you're Liverpool, who would you have gone for the way round? If you're Liverpool now, who are you taking for West Ham?
Bowen on his day, probably.
What, for this game or in general?
No, for this game.
Yeah, where would you put him? Through the middle, wide?
I'd put him on the right because you said you probably wouldn't be playing Salah for this game. So who was it you said you'd have on the right?
Chiesa.
Oh, yeah, but Chiesa played down the middle. Chiesa played down the middle.
No, Chiesa's a winger. No. He's a right-sided winger as well.
Right, let's reconsider that then.
But then again, maybe with the way that Bowen plays, that little bit of freedom, we'll have Gakpo doing the running from the left, Chiesa doing the running from that, gives him that freedom to do the 10 or drop in. Maybe that could work. Or if you wanted West Ham to win, give us Todibo.
Edison Alvarez on his day would be a beast in the 6 instead of Gravenberch.
Yeah. Well, who's on our 6 now? It'll probably be Endo tomorrow.
Yeah, I still think Alvarez on his day would hold his own.
Yeah, I like Alvarez. I think he's good. I think he's like. It was very hot. I said in the other podcast, what we did the other day, I felt sorry for him because what he was asking to cover for someone who's known for not being quick was ridiculous. Like, I think if he plays tomorrow and Elliot and Alvarez are very similar pace-wise. Maybe obviously Elliot's a little bit faster, but I think Alvarez will keep up with him. But if we had Gravenberch in there to take that step away to break the lines, I think Alvarez will be in trouble.
I feel like a traitor not picking Big Jan from history.
Jan Mulbs.
Yeah. Should have had Jan Mulby, shouldn't I?
Big Jan. Big Jan.
Right, so to finish off, in a word, have West Ham got any chance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have I got a chance to win the lottery? Yep.
Is that the same context?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have one for you. Since you're always asking the questions, I thought, let me do this for you. I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to give you 3 teams, and I want you to tell me the Premiership top goal scorer for each one of those teams.
In history, in Premier League history.
Just Premier League history for each of these teams, right? So we've got, I'm obviously not going to touch West Ham. I'm going to give you...
I got that one.
Leeds United.
Right, so...
And I'll even give you 2 questions. 2 questions is enough.
Right, well, I think that's Mark Viduka.
Mark Viduka it is.
Yeah.
Fulham.
I think that might be Saha. No.
Not Saha.
So Premier League here, because I could go back
further
than that. Right, is it a yes or no question?
If I'm giving you 2, no, I'll answer the question for you.
What nationality is the Fulham top scorer?
To be fair, I was going to say you'll get it, but it leaves 2 because it could be one of 2. He's American.
Right, so he's... Why the fuck can't I think of who that is?
Fulham top goal scorer in Premier League history. It could be one of 2. If you want, I'll give you the one it's not.
Yeah, give me the one it's not.
Because it might jog your memory. Brian McBride.
Right, yeah, I remember McBride.
So who was the other American that played for Fulham?
Dempsey? Was it Clint Dempsey?
Clint Dempsey's the other one, yeah. Last one.
Is that right?
Yeah, Clint Dempsey.
I don't know where I pulled that from.
And last one, Everton's all-time got Premier League top goal scorer.
Big Dunk.
Nope. However, he is the highest scoring Scottish footballer in Premier League history.
Right, okay. So who else?
He's still playing now.
Still playing now.
Yep.
At Everton?
No, but he's just left the Premier League this season.
Where does he play now?
Italy. He's played for Anderlecht, West Brom, Everton, Chelsea, Manchester United, Inter Milan, Napoli, Romelu Lukaku. It is.
Yeah.
Big Rom.
That crossed my mind early on, you know. My mind.
What made me think of that? I heard someone say, and this one I was going to use this one, but I think this will be hard to get. Something about Brighton's top goal scorer in the Premiership's only on 26 goals. I was like, what? That's Brighton have done well for like the 4 years. Surely someone scored more than 26 goals, and you think they don't really score that many when you think of it that way. And I thought no one would get Neil Maupay and Glenn Murray are tied 26 goals for Brighton's top goal scorer.
I would have guessed Murray, because he's another one who scored. You see, so that's another quick question. See, against West Ham, it's guaranteed Lukaku if he comes against us to score. It's guaranteed Chris Wood scores against us whenever he plays. It's guaranteed that Murray will score against whenever he plays. And it's guaranteed that Callum Wilson, will score against us whenever he plays. Have Liverpool got anybody like that it's like, you know he's going to score because he does every time he comes around? Have you got anyone
Bowen
like that?
was for a little bit. Bowen did that to us.
Jean-Claire Todibo.
Yeah, Tadebo's going to do it tonight. Like, you know what? I might have a look at the bet on that. See Tadebo to score any time. But you know what? I'll have a look. Tadebo to have a shot on target any time.
I'll tell you what. Let's throw a £5 each in the pot. I can't do betting apps from here in Tenerife. Let's have a £5 each on the pot. Let's have a £5 on Tadebo to score any time in the match. Yeah. And let's invent another wild bet for our £5 and we just split the money. What else you got?
What, involving Tadebo?
No, just West Ham Liverpool for fun. Both teams to score.
If you want to be specific, I wouldn't go both teams to score. I would go Chiesa to score. Chiesa to score 2, Todibo to get booked, Soufal to get booked.
All right, I'll transfer you a £5. Stick one £5 on Todibo to score any time in the game. Yeah, and stick the other £5 on Liverpool win. Chiesa to score any time.
Yeah.
Todibo and Koufal to get yellow cards. Yeah.
Right. I'll get myself to the bookies and do that later on.
Nice one, brother. Right, listen. Thanks for the West Ham Liverpool breakdown. I hope everyone's enjoyed watching it or listening to it. Remember, if you're listening on platforms like Spotify, Alexa, Amazon Music, TuneIn Radio, any of those, you can come over to the YouTube channel, Opinions from Offside, and you can see lots more episodes that we don't get the chance to put on the podcast platforms. If you're watching on here, on YouTube, get your asses over to Spotify and follow. Actually, what you could do for us, folks, is you can follow on Spotify and leave us a review on there. Because the higher the reviews, the 5-star ratings on there, the more it shares it around, the more people get to see it. You can also subscribe on YouTube for us. Let us know in your comments what you think of my breakdown of West Ham, Kanye's breakdown of Liverpool, what you think the result's going to be. And any other Liverpool and West Ham players that have played for both clubs that you thought of that we didn't. So let us know, interact with us. Thanks for watching. Until next time on
Opinions from Offside.
We'll see you soon. Come on, you irons. Keep balling, baby. We'll see you soon.
Balling, baby.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Peace out.
Brilliant. Right, let's get this music on. I've got the giggles now. Here we go. Keep balling, baby.